All right, kings and queens, we need to have a serious talk. Because let's be honest, 99% of the time, if there's a Heino on your team in ranked, you might as well start preparing to lose stars. Everyone acts like Heino's overpowered, but let's get real. He's just a fraud racking up points for scratching the enemy without actually contributing to victories. It's like watching a magician lots of flash, but you're just left wondering where the rabbit went. You ever notice that every time there's a Heino on your team, they play like they're just trying to hit a high score instead of actually winning? Bro, this isn't your first time picking up a controller, right? Sure, you can land a couple of scratches here and there, but when it comes to actual team fights, you might as well be throwing confetti. It's like he thinks the more flashy moves he does, the more points he gets, but all he's really getting is a one-way ticket to the worst player awards. And then there's the classic Heino escape. You know, the one he dashes straight away from the enemy while the rest of us are left holding the bag. It's like he's got a personal getaway plan, leaving his teammates to face the onslaught alone. Congrats, Heino! You just prioritized your survival over everyone else's, and now we're all getting steamrolled. It's like watching a lifeguard who jumps into the pool only to swim to the shallow end while everyone else is drowning. And don't even get me started on his ultimate, Fate Rewind. Everyone talks about how great it is, but it's really just a fancy way for Heino to rewind his own mistakes, while the rest of us are left to deal with the mess. It's like giving a toddler a magic wand and expecting them to clean up their room. You know you're supposed to help the team, right? But now Heino's just here to collect some minor damage stats while we're left to pick up the pieces. It's a team game, not a solo act unless you count Heino's solo failure tour. Oh, and when Heino tries to heal the tower, it's always at the worst possible time. Like, hey Heino, the enemy team is literally in our base. Maybe you should focus on stopping them. But no, Heino's thinking, don't worry guys, I'll heal this tower. Meanwhile, we're getting steamrolled in a 4v5. I mean, come on. It's like trying to water a plant while your house is on fire. What's the point? And while we're all dying in a team fight, where's Heino? Off farming like he's in a solo mode, scratching at minions. He's over there, racking up his own little damage numbers, while the rest of us are desperately trying to stay alive. You're ranged and melee. How are you out of position in both modes? It's an art form at this point, one that earns 0 points for teamwork. Heino's just the guy sitting in the corner, hoping to get a participation trophy for showing up. But what really takes the cake is when the whole team is pinging for help. And what's Heino doing? Stop trying to take down a tower that's clearly out of reach while we're getting wiped out. Oh, sorry team. Didn't realize you needed me while I was busy attacking this unbreakable fortress. Yeah, thanks, Heino, for prioritizing your own stats over the team's chances to win. It's like he thinks he's in a solo queue, grinding for a leaderboard spot instead of playing as a unit. Newsflash, your tower push isn't gonna save our star count. He's there, hammering away, but guess what? He can't even destroy it. It's like watching a kid with a toy hammer trying to take down a brick wall. You're doing something, but it's not enough. And meanwhile, the rest of us are getting obliterated. It's an art form at this point, one that earns 0 points for teamwork. And let's not forget about those marks. Heino players act like marking the enemy is an accomplishment. Look guys, I marked him. Fantastic, Heino. Now what? Oh right, you're gonna throw that sad little scepter. and miss. Beautiful execution there. You'd think with all that practice, he'd at least hit something occasionally. But nope, he's just a human alarm clock going off at the wrong time. But of course, the grand finale is when Heino stands in front of a crumbling tower, rewinding its health by a whole 5%. Wow, Heino, you really saved the day. Oh wait, no you didn't, the tower's still going down. And so is our star count.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
It's like putting a band-aid on a broken leg, totally useless. At the end of the game, while the rest of us are trying to recover from this disaster, Heino's sitting there, puzzled why nobody's congratulating him for his scratch damage. Well, Heino, maybe it's because those scratches don't win games. Your damage might look nice on paper, but without teamwork, it's just empty stats. And let's be honest, it's not like those stats are even that impressive, they're just proof you can hit something occasionally. And guess what? When the final scoreboard comes up, Heino is somehow the MVP. How did that happen? All those flashy numbers and minor scratches got him the title, while the rest of us were busy trying to secure real objectives and win the game. It's like winning a race because you jogged a little while everyone else was sprinting. Congratulations, Heino! You're the champion of doing the bare minimum. Seriously, the chat's blowing up, and Heino's probably wondering why he's getting roasted instead of praised. What do you mean I'm not helping? I marked the enemy. It's like a kid thinking they did well just because they colored outside the line. Sure, you made a mess, but that's not what we needed. The real MVPs were the ones sweating it out trying to win, not the guy who just scratched his way to a false glory. So next time you see a Heino locked in on your team, just remember it's not you, it's them. Go ahead, hit that report button, you've earned it. And if you enjoyed this rant about the 99% of Heino players who are too busy scratching for points instead of winning, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more content on how not to lose your stars in honor of kings. Catch you next time, if Heino hasn't already thrown your rank into oblivion.